Hi guys! This time I'm going to make an exploded mouth. And this is how I made it. First I cleaned the skin with a wipe. And this time I use liquid latex from Mehron and tissue paper. First I put some liquid latex into a bowl. Then I rip the tissue paper into thin strips. This is all prep work. It saves me time later on. You need quite a lot of strips, and I make some of the longer strips a bit shorter so I can use them for the base of the mouth. There's enough. Then I take a bit of liquid latex and make the base. Just a few thin layers. I don't like the smell. Speed dry it with my blow dryer. Another layer. I put some tissue paper. I put some tissue paper on my mouth. If you are going out or having a party where you need to talk and to drink and to eat, just leave it open. But I decided to completely cover it. So a few thin layers of liquid latex and tissue paper, let it dry. One more layer. Then I take a bit of cotton for some texture. And then liquid latex. Then the thin strips of the tissue paper. I start at the bottom of my mouth and dip the tissue paper into the latex and then pop it onto my mouth, so I get these nice stringy threads. Stick it on. It's time consuming, so be patient. Maybe the next time when I do this look, I will dry them in between so it doesn't get as sticky. And then I build it up. Thread off the thread. One short, one long, one thicker, one thinner. More latex. Woohoo, looking funky. And then the blow dryer to speed the drying process. And then we're gonna make the edge of the wound. And I'm using Mehron synwax. And you know the deal, a bit of Vaseline. Warming it in your fingers. Rolling it and make a little sausage, and then flatten the sausage so you have these kind of skin flaps. I did some preparations, as you can see. I have my Q-tip ready. So, Pros-aide and a Q-tip for some extra bondage of the synwax. I'm going to use it on the edges of the wound. Put a bit of Pros-aide in a little paper cup. And then just put a thin layer of Pros-aide on the edge. Like so. Wait till it's dry clear. And then I put the little flaps of skin onto the wound. Don't forget the Vaseline. Just blend it into the skin. And again, be patient with it. There we go. Second one. Blending it. Starts to take shape. Sometimes you have to get in strange positions to see what you're doing, especially when you do it on yourself. It's always a bit harder than to do it on someone else. Sometimes long nails are very handy. I'm happy with it. Yes, I am. And I dip my sponge into the latex and I dab some latex on the edge of the wax and my own skin. You can't really see what I'm doing there, but believe me, there we go. Just a thin layer is enough. Don't use the blow dryer because your synwax will melt. Then I take my grease paint palette from Dashbo and start putting on the base of the wound. While the latex from the outer side of the wound is drying. Just basic red. Takes a bit of time. But it's so much fun to make. I occasionally pop on some black and brown to break the red, to give it some more dimensions. Give it a little skin flap. There we go. It's a bit more black for the burnt look. I also use black around the edges to create some more depth. There we go. Clean my hands. Then I need to make some dark circles around the eyes, and I'm using the eyeshadow palette from Mehron and a detail brush. I'm trying to find it. There we go. And make my eyes a bit more distressed and more sunken in. Make it nice and messy. Use a fluffy brush to blend it all. There we go. Let me go to the the bruisewheel from Mehron and plucked non-latex sponge to make some bruising around the wound edge, and then time for blood. I'm gonna need lots of blood. So it's Vermillion and Mouldlife this time. From Vermillion it's the runny blood, oxblood, and crimson clotting blood, and for Mouldlife it's the aged blood. Start to drizzle it into the wound. Can be a bit messy, and I use an old brush to maneuver it around. It's a very disturbing wound, so we need lots of blood for the dramatic effect. And now you see that the wound is getting getting a bit of extra oomph and is getting, how do you say it? It's starting to, I don't know the word for it. Sorry. Let's get the blood into all the nooks and crevices and all the little thready things. And then a bit of blood on the neck. And it's very hard because you can't really see what you're doing, so I have to do this blindly. It's coming alive. It's got a nice shine. This is the aged blood, by the way. Just smear it everywhere. Then I take some mouth protector. I don't know what it's called. A surgeon's mask. And I just put it onto the plate where I kept my blood and just smear it around. And then you get some pretty disturbing mask. Some smudges around my face. Of course, the surgical gloves. And of course, it's very hard to get them on. But eventually, I managed to get them on. Put some blood on the gloves. And then very carefully, I'm just checking it out. Okay. Very carefully, I put the mask over the wound. Just be careful that you don't disturb the wax too much. And then that's it. Pretty disturbing look. Put a bit of drama in it. Look a bit sad, a bit disturbed. And then slowly take the mask off. And that's it, you guys. See you next time. Bye.